Oh, let's see. Plugin, 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 plugin while pontificating. I actually have a plugin that I was going to pontificate upon. While plugins, while giving errors on how the best way to approach them. Interesting. So I don't do a lot of Vimel. So I can help with some. I'm going to do just a very small Vimel plugin. I may even screw it up. Honestly, I don't do a lot of Vimel. I use Lua primarily, but you don't have to use Lua. You don't have to use NeoVim. Some of the best plugins I've ever used in my life are done with Vimel. So we'll get to those. So let's just first do a little small plugin, okay? So let's create a new file. So I'm going to open up this little quick fix, or this the Vex window, right? And if you just type in %, it'll say, hey, enter new file name. So I'll go, I don't know what to name this thing. We'll just call it plugin.vim. Why not? And once I save it, it is now in there. If I do PV again, you'll see plugin is now right there. I can delete it with capital D if you want to. You can rename it and move it around with capital R. It's an okay interface. Honestly, there's better ones. I think Dervish has one of the better ones. NerdTree is really fantastic as well. So we have this plugin, and let's just start writing something. So here's something that does happen from time to time. I want to be able to create a scratch buffer. This is actually based off of a, let's see, let's do this. This is actually based off of an article that I found not too long ago. It's right here. He goes through like this really extensive scratch buffering that he makes. But let's just do a really simple one to show you kind of some of the powers of Vim. All right, so I'm just going to close down that with my favorite command, Control-W-O. Oh, love it. What we're going to do is we're going to create a function. Now in Vim, functions, you can do fun bang. Effectively, this just ensures that the function will always replace itself with the latest whenever you source. And let's call it something fantastic. Let's call it scratch. Why not? There we go. And then let's also pass in a command. So what we're going to do is we're just creating a function that passes in a command. Now here's the thing. When you write a function, you got to end the fun. Don't forget that. It will get you every single time. It gets me every single time. So what is the command going to do? Well, for us, let's just do something pretty simple. Let's create a scratch buffer and then just execute that command as a system command. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to first create a new buffer. There we go. New. That's all we have to do. It's the same thing as doing new right here inside of your command. Notice I just create a new list right there. I can rotate it if I want. There's all sorts of things you can do with it if you want to. We're not going to really do that right now. So we're going to just do new. I can do vnew for vertical split. We can do all of that. But we're going to create a new one, and then we need to set some options on it. Now, the moment you create it, when it's created, your cursor will be moved there, and now we're executing this line of code, which means I can do something like this, set local, which will actually set things about this buffer only, not about all the, it's not a set that's for the whole Vim experience. It's for this specific buffer. No buff listed. All right, so no buff listed. So what is no buff listed? Well, if you type in the word buffers, what you'll see is every file that I have opened up. Right? So during this Vim experience, we keep the files underneath the hood. They remain in memory despite not being in view. So I can actually have those and they'll load them up super fast. Because if you have a really large file, you don't want to have to read the whole thing from your operating system again just to get it back into memory. So they remain in memory. You can actually set certain commands to make that easier, such as set hidden, which means that you don't even have to save the buffer to put it into the background. It will remain there. When you try to quit Vim, it'll say, hey, by the way, have you forgot to save this? Do you want to save this file or not? Right? So there's actually some pretty nice ways you can use this. So set buff no listed means that when we create the scratch buffer, it won't appear in this list, which is good because we don't want a bunch of like no names, right? We can also do buff type equals no file, meaning it's just not a file type, right? It's just whatever. We won't receive any specific highlighting or file operations upon it. And also, I believe it's like buff hidden equals delete, meaning that when we leave it from our viewport, when we remove it from the window, instead of being in the background, it will automatically delete itself. Fantastic, right? So now we can create a quick variable. Let's just call this output. Why not? And this equals system call system list. I believe it's called system list. I'm always so bad at this. And now here's where Vimel gets really, you have to do a for argument command, right? So I'm passing in the argument command into the system list. And now I have all this. And system list, what it does is it executes a system command and then creates it into a nice array. Since I am using a NeoVim, I could use some NeoVim specific APIs, or I can just use a easy Vim one. So I can just append the current buffer. So buffner will get the current buffer. I think it might be call buffner. I can never remember these things. Call buffner, and then on top of that, I can just pipe in the output. So we have a local argument output. Let's shout out %sign. We're still doing this. We must be calling something a little bit off. Let's call append. There we go. We got it. We got it right. So now if I do the call scratch out, there we go. We got it. Look at that first try. We did it our very, very, very first try right here. We are actually able to take all these things and create something that will actually open up our own stuff. Now I can come in here and I can edit these things, do what I want. Effectively, the tutorial that they do online, he wants to be able to edit like SQL queries. So he has a way to be able to communicate, get these things, so he can bring it into Vim, do a light amount of editing, and then put it back in, put it on a system clipboard, send it back wherever he wants to send it back, and it's really, really nice to work with. And so scratch buffers are pretty cool, and this was really simple to write. I mean, despite the fact that I failed like 0 times because I did it first try, it was really, you know, it's pretty trivial. It's 4 lines of code, and it actually can be pretty powerful. You could imagine what we're piping into there. So there you go. There's like a little simple plugin, and I do want to do a little bit of pontificating. To me, this is really kind of like the important part, which is, what do I think is like an ideal Vim command or setup or an ideal Vim plugin? What makes Vim one of the more ideal ways to edit text is once you learn everything, it becomes about thinking about the thing you want to do, and your muscle memory, everything else can actually fill in all the commands to do them. You want to replace all the text in a function. You don't think about, okay, do I need to jump down by 4 lines? What do I do here? No, you're just DI squirrely. You get them all out, right? You just know right away. It becomes more and more simple. And so I feel like that's kind of really where Vim shines, is plugins that also do the same thing. So this is where I'll probably, and no knocks on anyone that uses lazy git, but I don't like it because you have to do scrolling. You have to do a lot of Easter egging to get to where you want to be. Let me show you something that's a little bit different, and I'll show you how it works. I'm going to do this all at the same time. I'm actually going to edit a plugin and actually make a commit right now to one of the plugins I've been using.